What is a typical NBA center? Well, I'd like to explain it to you, but this is something that has changed over the course of time multiple different times. And in every era of basketball we look at, the center has been able to do many different things, whether it's run in transition, rebound the ball, protect the rim, play with their backs to the basket, finish around the rim, finish plays offensively and defensively. Now guys can pass, shoot from three, hit a step back three, go through their legs and behind the back. The center position has evolved like any other position in basketball, but 5 times better. To your Bill Russells, your Wilt Chamberlains, your Kareem Abdul-Jabbars, your Shaquille O'Neals, your Nikola Jokic's, your Victor Wembanyama's, and many others, the NBA center has evolved tenfold from the 1960s all the way to the 2020s. And in today's episode of At the Buzzer Sports, we're going to be talking about why this new era of NBA center is something we have never seen before. Let's get right into it. Now, before we get into where the game is headed with the NBA center, we have to talk about where we started. In 1960 with the two faces of the league in Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain. In the earlier era of basketball, you would see a lot of transition play due to the pace of the game, and a lot of big men were required to be extremely valuable in transition, offensively and defensively. With a peak of about 109 field goal attempts per game in the 1960s and no three-point line, the goal of any offensive possession was to get the easiest shot possible. And due to the spacing, sometimes the best avenue to an easy bucket was a layup in transition, beating the defense down the court. So when we look at centers and how they scored so effectively, it would be much more under the rim with quick decision making or be rewarded for running the floor. So if you look at the shots that were taken around the rim and how many possessions were had per team in those years, rim protection and defense is some of the best skills you can have. And that is why Bill Russell is the face of the 1960s and the Boston Celtics won 11 NBA championships. And this is why we will probably never see another player average 50 points per game again like Wilt Chamberlain. Per Thinking Basketball, if you adjust Wilt's 50-point season to about 75 possessions a game, you get about 28.7 points per game. With the three-point line, versatility, and talent in today's game, I would be willing to bet that there will never be another 50-point per game season in NBA history ever again. In 1970, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar enhanced the center position even more with his post play and footwork. And I'm pretty sure we're all comfortable saying he's the face of NBA centers back in the 1970s. You have him and Bill Walton, who introduced polished post play with passing out of double teams and scoring from outside the restricted area. And then we move on to probably the greatest generation of NBA big men that we've seen in the NBA in the 1990s with guys like Shaquille O'Neal, David Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing, Alonzo Mourning had a stint in there. There was a lot of talent in the 1990s when it comes to the center position, whether it was speed, athleticism, brute strength, guys that had mixtures of all of them with dominant post play, shot creation, finishing around the rim, polished post game. There was this era in the 90s where most teams ran through the center position. And I don't think this is talked about enough because there was a ghost in Chicago running the league. Not only did these guys have brute strength down low, guys like Hakeem Olajuwon and David Robinson could stretch their game out to the mid-range, hitting shots effectively in the mid-range area, like Hakeem Olajuwon with his jump hooks and his mid-range baskets and his mid-range shots. Guys like David Robinson who could spot up around the free throw line and space the floor quite often. But on top of that, you can mix it in with running the floor and being more athletic than the opposing center and just being more physical and out-strengthening them possession after possession after possession. And then we have the generation of modern bigs with DeMarcus Cousins, Nikola Jokic, and Joel Embiid, which aren't quite like anything we've ever seen before at this position. We have 3 guys who can put the ball on the floor, play, make, shoot, and dominate down low, which these 3 guys did. Now, I do believe some people are kind of overhyping DeMarcus Cousins just a little bit because people are saying DeMarcus Cousins walked so Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid could run. I don't necessarily think that is true, but I definitely think that this generation of big men kind of started the foundation of what we are about to get with the over advanced big men that can do multiple things on the floor. And we're going to be talking about them in this episode. With Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid, both of these guys have MVPs. Both of these guys are some of the best scorers we've seen at the center position. Both of these guys are some of the most talented players we've ever seen at this position. And this is something that we're always going to remember because, once again, we've never seen anything like these two players. With Nikola Jokic being able to pass at the level that he does, and Joel Embiid just being able to score at will at the level that he does, just being a dominant force down low and also being one of the greatest mid-range shooters we've seen at the position. So this era of NBA big men is something that's going to be kind of slept on because we're going to remember Nikola Jokic, almost four-time MVP, finals MVP, NBA champion, but we may not necessarily remember Joel Embiid how he should because of the injuries and the lack of playoff success. But this is where we get into the new era of the NBA big man. The big man that can do almost everything at the center position, whether it's protect the rim, shoot from the logo, put the ball on the floor, finish inside, defend on the perimeter. We have truly never seen an archetype of this type of center before. And a lot of people think that it started with Victor Wembanyama, but they would be wrong.
Pick in the 2021 NBA draft. The Cleveland Cavaliers select Evan Mobley.
I think Evan Mobley was truly the first big that we saw come into this archetype. That's 7 foot tall, extremely athletic, can put the ball on the floor, block shots and guard on the perimeter. And I don't think he gets enough credit for this because before this season, I don't think a lot of people were up on his game as much as they should have been. Mobley and how he has improved as an offensive player by getting the ball and putting the ball on the perimeter and being able to play along the perimeter and just being able to attack mismatches, put the ball on the floor, hit an open shot. His 3-point attempts have doubled since last season. He's taking about 3 3-pointers a game and shooting about 38%, which is not the most eye-popping stats, but if you look at how he spaced the floor last year in the playoffs, and Cleveland was a bottom 3 offense in the playoffs last year to having one of the best offenses in the league this season, you can really say that it's because of the improvements that Evan Mobley has made as an offensive player. If we take a look, he's going up on one of the best defenders in the league in Draymond Green, and he's confident doing it. He's getting the ball and he's immediately putting the ball on the floor and willing to create. Here he's going to attack a Chris Boucher and get the make over him. If we take a look at this possession here he's going to flash up to the perimeter and he's going to get the ball. He's pretty much open. He's going to jab step, get the defender off his stance, wait for the pump fake, and he's going to go up and make the shot. How about another clip where he's battling through the contact of Cam Payne and Karl Anthony Towns, and he still gets the finish, even though that should have been an and one in my opinion. And this is why I think this archetype of big is so valuable, because the 3 centers that I'm going to be talking about, which is Victor Wembanyama, Chet Holmgren, and Evan Mobley, these guys are above average offensive centers. These guys can all put the ball on the floor. They can all drive. They can all hit an outside shot, and they can give you multiple problems offensively while being top 5 defenders in the NBA, and they cover so much space defensively. We talk about KG and how he was so versatile offensively and defensively, being able to guard in transition, being able to switch, being able to be a help side rim protector. We see this a lot now in the NBA where centers can put the ball on the floor, run in transition, and also anchor a top tier defense. We see Victor Wembanyama do it. When he's on the floor, the Spurs have one of the best defensive teams in the league. When Evan Mobley's on the floor, the Cavs are one of the best defensive teams in the league, and the Thunder are just the best defense in the league. And this truly shows why I think the new level of NBA bigs are so underrated, and this new era is going to be fantastic because we have so many centers that can put the ball on the floor and be such great offensive weapons while being top 3 defenders in the entire league. Jaren Jackson just missed out on this video because he's a power forward and he doesn't rebound the ball too well, I'm not gonna lie. The best part about this is Evan Mobley's calling card isn't even offense. He's a top 3 defender in the NBA, whether it's playing on the perimeter, being a help side rim protector, having the lower body strength to be able to guard stronger centers, being able to fly across the floor in the half court scenario to contest shots at the rim as he stuffs Brandon Miller's face at the rim. Here he is guarding Bobby Portis in the post. Now this isn't the toughest task, but he still thrives in that. Or how about in this clip when he's on the perimeter again and he just has the best footwork, speed, and length to contest this shot on the perimeter and make it a miss. Or when he's guarding probably rookie of the year if he hadn't got hurt, Jared McCain, on the perimeter, and he gets a good contest up as well. How about this one when he's roaming the paint and he's able to stuff this shot? And like I said earlier, this is an archetype that is truly one of the most underrated in the league. And I truly believe that this is going to be the next era of NBA centers. And Evan Mobley truly embodies what it means to be a new aged era NBA center. Now, the very next year, Chet Holmgren came into the NBA as the number 2 pick out of Gonzaga, and I thought he was a better prospect than Evan Mobley. I think he had a better touch around the rim. I think he was a better shooter, and I do think he was a better ball handler, and he utilized that ball handling the second he came into the NBA. After missing his entire first season due to injury and majority of his third season, there are some concerns with his injury history, but when he is on the floor, he is one of the better offensive big men in the NBA and one of the better defensive big men in the NBA. Top 5 in my opinion. This is another guy that I truly see that is in that same category of new era big men that can put the ball on the floor and score at will and can also be a top 5 defender in the NBA. Because when we look at Chet's game, a lot of people's concerns with him was he was frail and he was very slight, but he actually absorbs contact very well and he initiates contact. And this may be because he sat his first season out, but I don't think there's a more polished rim protector in the NBA outside of Chet Holmgren. One thing that's incredibly special about all of these new centers is their versatility offensively and defensively. With Chet's floor spacing, he's allowed to play the 4 next to Isaiah Hartenstein, giving the Thunder more space to operate with a Hart and SGA pick and roll. In this possession, they clear out the entire left side of the floor so SGA can work, and now they're helping off of Chet Holmgren, and he gets an easy bucket again. On this possession, he does his best Kristaps Porzingis interpretation by trailing as the offense is getting back in its set, getting an easy 3 as Isaiah Joe hits him for the easy top of the key 3-pointer. In this possession, Chet's going to notice that SGA kind of finds himself in a tough position by the defense collapsing on him, so he's going to reposition himself to get an even better shot with the assist from J-Dub at the top of the key once again. If I went back to 1985 and showed an NBA fan a clip of a center pulling up from 3 with no hesitation, I don't know how they would react. Or how about this one? When Chet sets the screen here, he's going to get the ball from SGA. He's going to pump fake, step to the side, another 3-point shot. What if I shown the 1985 NBA fan a clip of this? Not only is Chet really good at creating open looks for himself off the ball, he's also really good at attacking mismatches with the ball in his hand. Here he brings the ball up the floor and instantly attacks at the rim. Once again, we talk about Chet being small and frail. Here he is finishing through contact through one of the better rim protectors in the NBA in Walker Kessler, moving off ball once again. Here he shows the ability to dribble off the catch, not only make the jab step and drive in the middle, but also be able to pick his dribble up and take 2 big steps to the basket and finish through contact and get to the charity stripe. And before Chet went down, he was looking like one of the better offensive bigs in the NBA. And you pair that with some of the best rim protection in the NBA, some of the best versatility in the NBA on the defensive side of the ball, and a guy that contests shots at the rim and routinely does not foul. He has such a great form when he goes up to contest shots without swiping his hands down or just jumping straight up and getting the best contest you can possibly get when you are contesting and protecting the rim in the game. And those type of things make Chet so valuable. And once again, this prototype of the new era of NBA centers even more valuable. And finally, the 1 of 1. Think of everything I just mentioned about the past 2 bigs with Evan Mobley and Chet Holmgren, and now think about a 7'4" physical phenom in Victor Wembanyama. Now, Victor Wembanyama's season was cut short due to some blood clots, and we pray that everything is okay with him and he'll be able to make a speedy recovery and be back and better than ever next season. But I truly believe that this is the face of the centers for this new era of NBA centers. Victor Wembanyama is going to be one of the best rim protectors we've ever seen. He's going to be one of the best offensive bigs we have ever seen. And this is only based off of a year and a half of what he's been doing and how he's been progressing. We're actually going to start with the defense pretty early. Victor Wembanyama, with his wingspan, 8-foot wingspan, standing at about 7'4", I think he's probably the worst perimeter defender out of the three big men that I have mentioned, but I do think that he has the potential to be the best rim protector. Right now, I think Chet is the best rim protector. I think Evan Mobley is probably the best perimeter defender and the best post defender, but I think Victor Wembanyama has the rim deterrence better than Chet Holmgren and Evan Mobley. And when you have those God-given gifts with the wingspan and the height, you're just going to be able to recover better than a lot of bigs. In this clip, Jonas Valanciunas did everything he was supposed to do against a shot blocking big. You put pressure into their chest, create space, and go up. But Wemby just has such an incredible recovery time and recovery speed, and with the wingspan that he possesses, he's just able to block shots. And sometimes we just don't see guys go up on Victor Wembanyama, and honestly, I completely understand it because he just has that level of rim deterrence and recovery speed and help side rim protection that just makes it really hard to score around the paint when he's on the floor. And one of my concerns with his game in his rookie season was maybe he was just a little bit too block hungry. You know how bigs are when you first get to the NBA. You want to stack up blocks, you want to block shots instead of necessarily deterring people from going to the rim and stopping the shots from going in. But this season, we've seen Victor Wembanyama kind of be a little bit less aggressive when it comes to blocking shots and just trying his best to deter the shots from the rim as much as possible. And he still was able to average 4.5 blocks a game. And to me, that's what's going to make him one of the better defenders of this generation, because he's always going to have that length and he's probably going to be a top defender throughout his entire career. Now, what makes Victor Wembanyama different from the other players I brought up earlier in this video, I think Victor Wembanyama can possibly be a top 5 scorer in the NBA and a top 5 defender this season. I was a little bit worried about how he'll be able to handle the ball and how much would you be able to put smaller wings on him who may be a little bit more built than he is and can swipe at the ball pretty constantly just because he's pretty high off the floor. So it makes the ball a lot easier to take away. But the more the season has gone along, he's made a lot better decisions with just making one dribble or making 2 dribbles and attacking, and making quicker decisions and getting off the ball a lot faster to limit those turnovers. He's moved really well as an off-ball shooter. He's been a great pull-up shooter. Victor Wembanyama truly has the entire package offensively, and once he really starts to put it together consistently, there's almost going to be nothing you can do with it, because we see right now he's still an extremely raw offensive player. We look at Victor Wembanyama's game and see how good he is, but when you look at the process over the outcome, Victor Wembanyama is still extremely raw. Like, if the Spurs would have went to the NBA playoffs this offseason, I would have predicted Victor Wembanyama to have a pretty tough series, because I just think if he would have went against OKC or Memphis or Houston, which have those pesky on-ball defenders that could be 6'6", 6'7", 6'8". OKC has a J-Dub. Houston has a Dylan Brooks. Memphis has a Jalen Wells who can be a little bit more physical and swipe at the ball a lot more. I think Wemby would have struggled, and I think they would have made anybody else beat Victor Wembanyama, forced him to shoot a lot more and kept him out of the paint as much as possible, just because I don't think there was a lot you had to do to move him off of his spot. But as the season went along, he just got a lot better as a dribbler, as a shooter, as a creator with the ball in his hand. And on top of that, he's already 7'4". That's not a shot. Get this. They've come out in 3 straight drafts. I don't think we have one in the 2025 draft of the level of Victor Wembanyama, Evan Mobley, and Chet offensively. Now, I think Kaman Malawach has something to say about it defensively, but this is going to be such a special era of basketball, and I think these centers are leading the pack. So everyone, let me know what you guys think about the new era of centers that is going to be dominating the NBA for the next 10 years to come. And I really just want to say thank you for watching this video and liking and subscribing. If you haven't, please make sure you do that before you head out. And let me know what type of content you guys would like to see next. I'm going to be bringing a lot more into my channel and integrating a lot more into my channel, some more historic things, especially since the off season is just right around the corner. I mean, the playoffs are going to be right around the corner as well. So I really appreciate everybody for watching and tuning into my videos, and I appreciate all the love you guys been getting. And if you guys like this type of content, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.